when we speak about strengths, I really just touched upon a few important, I think, elements, cognitive, adaptive, social, emotional. A long time ago, Howard Gardner published this book on multiple intelligences, raising lots of controversy because of the lack of empirical support and a lot of the challenges associated with this. But as an idea of, and I use intelligences in kind of quotes, but the idea of multiple strengths, what I appreciated from that book, as well as what others have, is an appreciation for the diversity of what it means to have a strength. Right? And moving beyond those really traditional ones that I had talked about prior to the break, to considering things like logical mathematical thinking as a strength on its own, or visual spatial, or musical rhythmic kind of strength as a strength on its own, irrespective of how it relates to other cognitive functions. And though the multiple intelligences was not specific to ASD at all, and he used instances of savant kind of stories, biographies in his book, the point behind it, I think, is useful. So to think even amongst ourselves about what your strengths are, right? Where are they? Are you academically strong? Are you interpersonally strong? Or maybe you're intrapersonally strong? And it's not just one or the other. These are not on a continuum. They really are, what would you qualify as your strengths? And I would venture that everybody could rate themselves higher on some aspects than others. And I would hope that there would be an alignment between the things that you would rate yourself high on and the things you're doing in your day-to-day, in your context, right? And I think that's important. People know who Susan Boyle is, right? Who rose to fame because of her singing ability. And it strikes me as an example of, if she rose to fame, she achieved a certain level of success, and and part of this, where did she do that? In a context in which I would really suffer. If you put me on stage with a mic without this kind of talk, but you asked me to sing, you guys would all leave right away. Right? It's horrible. So, but give her a mic and put her in front of like Simon Cowell or whoever else, like in that very, very weird environment, that weird context. But she really thrived in that context. So it's a real particular example, pretty unique, but one that really shows that an alignment between her strengths in that context seemed to lead to a certain level of success for her. Now, with that success comes pitfalls and all of those kinds of things, but I think it's an interesting example of context fit. Stephen Wiltshire is another example of a strength, or a visual spatial strength, a memory strength, which is rather unique. There's a special, this is not, and I really thought to myself, should I be putting these pictures up here? Because I don't want the message to be that thriving in ASD means finding that exceptionally brilliant skill, and because that's not really what it's about. But certainly it's easiest to see almost, right? And I think when we embrace these kind of special abilities, it's because we're craving for and we're prizing this idea of seeing somebody thrive with what they bring to the table. Okay? Just to contrast that, this is a picture of a block design, or a block kind of object, construction object that an elementary school student with autism built in a grade 4 classroom, right? At the school, one of the schools I was kind of visiting, working in. They let me take a picture of it. It has a place of honor in the school now, in the cafeteria, with honestly with ropes around it, right? And ropes around the ropes, right? To make sure that nobody touches or bumps into this. Right? And it's not like his picture's up there anyways, but the teachers really, this is a child who was severely affected with autism, but they found this right way of getting him to collaborate with his peers in the classroom to create this object, and without planning it, it became a symbol for the entire school, right? So you don't have to, you think this, and we all know this. Nobody but me, like in this room, knows about this. But I see this, and I don't see much of a difference in what's really the principle behind it. Okay, right? Here's another young man. We have this ASD mental health blog. And I interviewed Michael McCreary, who's a comedian with ASD, with Asperger's, who traveled across the country doing kind of a comedy routine on having Asperger's, and kind of his story and his father's story of how they developed it is another compelling aspect. This is a strength. It's different than this one and this one and this one, or some of these, or what we talked about before. But there's something to this, right? This is one thing that Michael said. If you're in love with something, adore something, are intensely involved or fixated or honed in on one thing, I want to say, don't let anyone take that away. No one has the right to have you broaden things. If you have at least just one dream and you adore it and it's part of your routine, then no one has the right to take it from you, and you should have that for your entire life. For Michael, finding this opportunity, getting the opportunity to become a comedian and invest his energies in that, and having a context that facilitated that and supported that and be able to support that, okay, creates a different Michael, right? With a story, with a message that really works for him. So this is just another example, and I hope we can all see kind of the principles behind this.